2,100 square foot, 4-bedroom, 2-bath rancher on 1.3 acres. Our first booking, though, was a 27-day, $13,000.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was insane.
We are the Real Estate Robinsons.
Tim Reed, welcome to. We don't even have a name for this segment yet. We got to come up with a name for this new segment. Like maybe
Thoughts of Tim.
That's a good one. Well, that would only apply for you. Yeah, we need one that we use for everybody. Like B&B backstory or something.
Yeah.
We'll come up with something catchy.
Yeah. Man.
So Tim Reed, I guess Tim, just give us let's just set the table a little bit. What does your real estate portfolio look like today? How many transactions, different deals have you done?
Okay, transactions. Oh gosh, not including personal residences. We've had 3 short-term rentals. We settle on our 4th one in next week, 2 weeks.
Congratulations!
Yes.
Thank you. And we also do fix and flips. We just are listing our 4th fix and flip this week. So that will go.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so glad it's over. This one's been a blessing compared to some of the other ones. So yeah, that's where we're at, and but yet we've got a whole lot more in the works, in the pipeline, in the thought process. So some bigger and better
That's
things.
what we're talking about. That's the energy we
That's
love.
it, baby.
Yeah, I love that.
But so that we have that one, and then this past summer we started investing in the Oak Hill, West Virginia market, right outside the new River Gorge National Park. Which is an absolutely gorgeous area, and we love being down there. So it's
I'm
been
excited to check that out. So we are currently taking down a property in, I always call it New River George.
no, not George.
Gorge is cuter, so I love that it's Gorge.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I love how much you love that market, and it makes me so excited that we are investing in there also. Because we have no idea where this is or what it looks like.
No, I've been there.
Oh yeah, girl, you went. I did not. But
Let me say it right. So like one of the hard parts of being an Airbnb host is dealing with your neighbors. And when I went to Oak Hill for the first time, I had a rental car, and I pulled up, and we were like right off a main highway. And I parked my car. My friend was parked in front of me, and like I was hanging out a little bit into the road. I grabbed my stuff, and then the neighbor, as I'm like grabbing my luggage, I see her kind of poking her head out, and I'm like, oh man, here we go, And she's an older lady. She comes out. She's like, hi, is this an Airbnb? And I was like, yeah, it is. And I'm just waiting for her
whenever
to say,
someone says that,
Yep.
you have to feel it out first before you give an answer.
And she was like, well, I just wanted to let you know. And I'm like, here we go.
Yeah.
Your car's hanging out a little bit, and I just don't want you to get hit. So if you need to park your car in my driveway, just know that you can do that.
There
and I
you
was
go.
like, oh my God. I was like,
That's
you were
cool.
so sweet.
That's
If
cool.
your neighbors in Joshua Tree said that, they would never say
They would
that.
never say that.
Really? Oh.
No.
Yeah, so in that city, it's cool.
Okay, so before we keep moving, can we just know a little bit more about Tim, who you are, what your backstory is, like what did you do before, or do you still do? Like, who is Tim Reed?
All right. Well, that's always a great question. Well, let's see.
And you're a talker, girl, so don't talk too long. Keep it short and concise.
I was born on a Tuesday. No, I don't know. I started an accounting firm, so I'm an accountant. 26 years ago. So I've been entrepreneur. I've had multiple businesses throughout the years. Some that have been absolute failures. Some that were very successful.
Yeah, and how long have you been investing in real estate? How long did you get that first deal?
Well, our first real estate deal would have been back in 2000. Yeah, 2000. We had bought an apartment building that we moved into. It was a second and third floor we lived in, and rented out the first floor.
That's cool.
So that was our first experience with real estate. Sold that 5 years later. Got into short-term rentals. It's been about 2.5 years ago now.
Okay.
With our place in Myrtle Beach, and then the Oak Hill, West Virginia area, we just got into this past summer.
Yeah. So let's talk about that one, right? Because you bought that one at a time when a lot of people are shouting Airbnb bust, when a lot of people were saying like, hey, this is not the time to invest in real estate at all. And you guys made the decision to go into what I would consider like a secondary, almost tertiary market that a lot of folks didn't know about. what gave you the confidence to buy at a time when a lot of people are kind of nervous?
Well, let me ask you this. When's the best time to buy eggs? When they're on sale or when they're up at $6 a dozen?
When they're on sale.
When they're on sale.
Right.
Right. So if you've looked through history, most fortunes are made in down markets by people that had the gall to go and, be risky and do things. So when we found out actually from you guys that the new River Gorge had become a national park back in 2020, we had spent years there, probably 10, 20, 12 years or so, I don't know, before that. We used to go whitewater rafting down there.
Like truly just vacationing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was nothing down there except whitewater rafting. There was nothing.
And where would you stay when you used to go?
We would actually go. There's the place that we would go whitewater rafting. One of the
had their,
the companies.
campground.
They've got a big.
Oh,
they've got
interesting.
cabins and stuff, and we would stay there because there was no short-term rentals as a whole like
Right.
Airbnb. I don't know when they existed, but they sure weren't down there back then.
Yeah.
But once we found that out, I knew what that meant as far as what's going to happen down there. And I wanted to get in on the ground floor the best we could. So that's why we particularly looked at that because the property values are so undervalued. Well, I don't know about undervalued, but they're still pretty cheap. And because of being a national park, you're getting a lot of people that are really starting to come in. And we're actually seeing in the last 6-8 months, the property values are actually starting to climb already. And it's such a cool area, and the people are just, as a whole, the people are really, really just genuinely cool people. So yeah.
So let's talk, right? You said that you used an egg analogy of like you want to buy when things are on sale. So can you walk us through the numbers on that first property that you bought out there?
Okay, so I don't know what it would be in your other markets that you're used to. 2,100 square foot, 4-bedroom, 2-bath rancher on 1.3 acres. But what made the deal really fun was we found out during the negotiation process, or during when they had it open for bids, I don't know what you call that out, But before we went under agreement and they were still taking bids, we found out that 1.3 acres was actually divided into 6 individually deeded lots.
Wow.
And I just knew exactly what that meant.
Yeah.
That means I can build 6 different properties.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you could buy that and then sell off the other pieces of land.
Right now, lots are going for like $12,000.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, I can build a property on that and make way more than $12,000 in 1 year, let alone subsequent years.
Yeah.
So, but it wouldn't pay me. But so 1.3 acres, 6 different lots, cool house. It's a really nice place, and they had it listed for $185,000. Yeah,
185,000
$185,000
was the purchase. Was the listing price?
that
they were
was the
asking
listing price.
on a 4-bedroom,
Yes.
2,100.
No,
home,
I'm sorry. It was 188. I think it was 188.
188. 4 bedrooms,
Yes.
over an acre.
Yes.
Wow.
We put in an offer of 190 with, I forget, a couple different like inspections and things like that. I forget what exactly we put in as our offer. And then once we found out that the 6 individually deeded lots, I called my realtor and I'm like, no, we are getting this. 195, so $7,000 over, and we don't care about anything.
Yeah.
We wanted a termite inspection.
Yeah.
That was
okay.
it. We did get a housing inspection. They went with our offer, and they took our offer, and we got it under contract. And we did get a housing inspection. We did get an inspector to come out, but it wasn't. The deal didn't hinge on his findings. We just wanted to know what we were getting into.
Yeah. What was there?
Right. So, but yeah, that was great.
And for 100,
great.
Yeah, 195,000, amazing purchase price from like an actual cash out of pocket to own this property. Down payment, closing costs. What did you guys have to put into it?
Oh, geez. We put 15% down. We got approved for 10% down.
Yeah.
But if we would have put 15% down, we didn't have to pay PMI.
Okay.
I was like, well, let's just do
Yeah.
it. We could afford to do it.
Especially on $195,000.
Right. That's when I point. I was like, yes, do it.
Yeah.
We got into it with 15% down. Closing costs, I think, were maybe $5,000 or $6,000.
Okay.
I don't remember offhand.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
probably probably in that area. So that's, we were into it at 15%. Let's call it 200,000, 30,000 plus, maybe $40,000 to get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing, right? We're talking $40,000 for a 4-bedroom property on acreage,
Right.
which is incredibly difficult to do, right? You try and go buy a 4-bedroom in the Smoky Mountains right now, it's $1 million bucks.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
There's no way you could do that for even a fraction of that.
Right.
So you guys have had the property for how many months now?
We bought it the Friday before Memorial Day.
Okay.
We went down to West Virginia that next Tuesday. We had spent Memorial Day at home, went down, and we spent a month rehabbing it.
Which I love, like that you guys like went down. Like we would have so Tim's in our coaching program in Alpha Host, and like he would join the calls from his property, and he's got him and his wife are sitting in their backyard like around the fire pit, and so it's cool to
great.
see you guys like enjoying the space
Yeah.
yourselves for that time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we'll say enjoying it. Yeah. No, it was. It was funny because we joked going down. The wife and I joked that she said that we had a 78% chance of coming back divorced, and I was like, "Wow."
Yeah,
That's real.
intense.
I,
Yeah.
I thought it was more like 87, but it ended up not going that route, obviously, and it went really well. There were some really frustrating times. We got there, and there were some things that were missed on the inspection that we ended up having to get fixed. Like jackhammering up the basement floor because the pipes were collapsed. And,
Oh, wow.
Man.
when we got there, the air conditioner, the compressor froze up, and the guy came out and he took the cover off of the outside compressor, and all he said was, "Oh, that's not good." I'm like, "Oh,
That's what you want to hear.
So we had to get a whole new HVAC system right off the bat.
Yeah.
There was a lot of little things, but I mean, we flip houses.
Yeah.
We've come to expect it.
Yeah.
You're gonna have these hiccups no matter how diligent you are ahead of time. Things come up.
Now, one thing, Tim, that I know about your property is that, Oak Hill, again, is what I would consider like a tertiary kind of up-and-coming Airbnb market. And a lot of these, tertiary places, you tend to see more mom-and-pop operators who maybe haven't I don't know, like increased their hosting to the level of like some of the more mature markets. So what are you seeing competition wise and kind of where do you feel your property stacks up and what do you feel has made your property maybe stand out in that market?
This is a great question. Competition, if you were to ask me, I'd say we have no competition. And I don't mean that arrogantly. I think with what we do, we're so different than what typically everybody else is doing in most markets. Meaning we're not doing it just trying to put out the same old, even if it's just a beautiful place. Our whole mantra, even our slogan, for our company, for our business is bringing families together one vacation at a time.
That's cool.
Our whole
Very
premise.
Disney
Yeah.
feel.
Yes, it is.
We don't even have a slogan. We got to come up with a slogan.
But
for
it's
it.
everything that we're about.
Yeah.
We know, I don't know if you're familiar with Zig Ziglar's back in the day. He was more my generation, but but Zig Ziglar always said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you
whatever,
want. Right. Or some premise of that. So we look at, if we're putting out a great product, meaning our short-term rental, it's beautiful. I mean, if you look at the design-wise, we're different than anybody else. We had a professional designer came in, and they had complete autonomy, which basically, once we signed the contract, had a preliminary kind of what we like, what we don't like. We had no say, which was great. I'm an accountant. What the heck do I know about
Right.
design, If it was up to me, it's going to look like everybody else out there, which too many Airbnbs, I feel when you scroll through, they all look, a lot of them
Similar, yeah.
look very similar.
Have the
They're
same aesthetic. Yeah.
right. They're very beautiful, but yet they all
It
look
blends.
the same.
They all blend.
Right.
And
Ours is-
that's like honestly one thing I feel like you do really well, babe, is like making the design pop
Yeah.
so that it does stand out from like what's in the crowd. Same like our
Dab me up. Dab me up.
Yeah. You guys do it
same
nice.
for our in-house designer Brianna Michelle. So if you're watching this, you need design
Yeah.
help. Head over to therealestaterobinsons.com/design because design is really important.
Oh,
you know,
it's
1,000%,
absolutely.
yeah.
And that's where I'm so glad that we don't, and my wife and I have such different aesthetic tastes
Yeah.
that we would have gotten divorced had we had to design it for sure, I'm sure. Or one of us would have gotten killed, and I'm sure it would have been me.
Yeah.
But what we do is so different. We're not trying to we're trying to make money off of it, obviously. It is a
Right.
business. To me, the greatest is when we got a review a couple weeks ago, where we have a pizza oven. And we tell our guests, like, we kind of give suggestions. And it's something we do at our house where we'll go out and get like little pizza,
Dough
like
or-
Boboli, no, like the
Yeah,
pre-made
yeah.
crust,
Oh,
like
yeah,
Boboli
yeah.
or whatever. And, we get a bunch of different toppings and, chop up everything, whatever, have it out. And now everybody makes their individual. So your 3-year-old is designing his own pizza.
That's cool.
And it's such a great way to bond as a family that it just, when we hear that kind of stuff, or like, our kids had a blast doing this, or I remember the one day one of our cameras goes onto the driveway, but it kind of hits where we have a bunch of hammocks set up. And it was the greatest feeling. Like it still chokes me up. I looked out and there was like 3 other like 10 to 11, 12-year-olds playing on the hammocks.
Oh.
And it was like, that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing it. And it's so different, I think, than a lot of people. Some people, I'm sure, but our why is very clear.
I love that so much. That's something that I think really pulled me in, Tim. I remember, okay, so I met Tim at a real estate conference. It was the Bigger Pockets rookie event, right?
Yep.
And I remember you came and spoke to me because something I had said, I don't remember.
It was a video you guys put out. How to get your spouse on board.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
And I remember you came and, told me how that really resonated with you and your wife and just connected with you guys as a couple. And I feel like the only reason I was on board with getting into real estate to begin with was because Tony shifted from long-term rentals to short-term rentals.
Right.
And the reason that spoke to me personally was because I was helping give people these experiences like you just talked about.
Yeah.
That's special to me. I'm a people person. I love helping people,
Right.
doing special things for people. So the fact that we could make money and
Yeah.
help make beautiful memories for people all over the country, that was
sure.
really cool to me. So
Yeah.
love that that's important to you
I
as well.
want my grandson to grow up going, hey, Pop, remember when we did this
Yeah.
thing? And that's what I want to give other families. And I think that's what we do.
It is something that I even forget about sometimes. Like we'll have, 12 turns in a day. And I forget that each turn is like truly a different family coming. And our properties are pretty much all vacation rentals.
Yeah.
So like these are people coming in, like making memories at our properties. And you forget that sometimes.
Yeah.
But you truly are playing a role in memories that someone will have for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And it's
I was going to say, you don't even know, like, what is that doing for that young couple?
Totally, yeah. The occasion,
Yeah, that-
like we've had proposals, honeymoons,
Someone got married, I think,
birthdays.
at one of our Airbnbs.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Really?
I'm pretty sure I remember seeing like a husband and like a wife, like
People have asked if they can get married at ours, and we unfortunately have to decline.
maybe it was honeymoon or
It's
something
because
like
in
that.
Joshua Tree they don't allow for
Commercial events.
Yeah, so
Then we need to talk because I've got some things in the works.
So you talked a little bit about like the goal isn't necessarily cash flow.
Well, and it's funny because, I don't know if you want to put this in or not, but when you ask about competition, I think now competition is you comparing yourself to someone else, which puts you in a scarcity mindset that it's got to be me versus you. Like, you guys are looking in that market. You can't compete with me.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't because I'm not competing. I'm doing what I can do. Like somebody asked Michael Jordan, what made him the greatest? Was he, comparing himself to anybody else or whatever? And he said, no, it was me comparing myself to me and trying to be the best I can be. And that's what we do. I don't care what the other guy down the street's doing. And we've got some friends now through Alpha Host and great people that we've gotten to meet and hang out with and actually go out for dinner with and things down there. And we've become friends, but they're not my competition. And I'm not theirs. Because I want them to do so daggone well. Because I know I'm going to do well.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool mindset when you get to that where I don't ever look. I mean, yes, we look at what other people are doing down there, but I don't care. And I know you talk about to look at what other people in that other market have. And I've heard that from a lot of people. And we do. You want to kind of have the basics, but we're trying to create experiences. And something actually we're putting together right now is different packages, which I don't know anybody that's doing this. And it was something that came to us. We're doing different packages. For instance, we're going to be calling all our guests once they book and saying, hey, what brings you to town? Who's coming? Get this data before that or from them before they come. So, okay, we're coming down and we're bringing our 12, 13, and 14-year-old, for instance. Now that's going to look a whole lot different than if they're bringing their infant.
Right.
Or it's a guy's weekend. So even for like a guy's weekend, I already started putting together a package that like when you guys show up, Tony, if you'd show up with like 5 of your buddies, okay, we've already going to have things set up, certain things put out around the house. Maybe we'll have it set up that it's going to be a themed movie night or something you could do if you want, or different games that we've got, things like that.
Poker table set up,
whatever, yeah, and have that working with our housekeepers and things like that, so that they can just set that up because his weekend with 5 of his buddies is a whole lot different than you with 5 of your girlfriends. So coming with that and already set up. For instance, we do one thing we do is a s'mores bar. Well, how many of you guys, you and your boys, ain't gonna be out making s'mores?
That sounds amazing to me.
Right, but exactly, with a couple cute wine glasses, or we've already got it set up with. There's a place right in the one town there that does axe throwing, or there's a local place that we've hooked up with that does ATV tours.
That's cool.
So like, really
adding those experiences,
putting these experiences, because I think what we're happening to, and you see this in a lot of places. The whole Disney Orlando market. I don't know Joshua Tree, so I'm getting to see that finally in a couple days. But the Smokies, what do you see? Everybody's just competing to get the biggest, baddest, the next amenity, the cool thing. All you're doing is getting caught up in the rat race. Nobody wins because now when somebody else comes up with that, well, like in the Smokies, if you don't have a hot tub, you can't compete.
Right.
You're nothing. And now it's going to be, barrel saunas or, now I got to get a barrel sauna.
We literally have a student buying a barrel sauna right now.
Yeah, you're right. I have seen a lot of recent barrel saunas.
Right. And I just pulled that one out. I didn't even know
That's
that.
literally a thing right now.
But that's just it. So what's going to be the next thing?
I've heard someone use this phrase that we're entering into an Airbnb amenities arms race.
And that's
where it's
what
like people are just like racing to see who can stuff the most amenities into their properties. And I think at a certain level, like you said, like in some markets you have to. Like in the Smokies, you've got to have those things.
Yeah.
But if you can add this layer, like what you're talking about, Tim, of the experiences where you're kind of really customizing each guest's stay.
Right.
Those are going to be things that give you rave reviews. That's going to make someone want to book. Who's like, man, Tim and Kim, they went above and beyond for us, and they really made us feel like family.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we struggle with because
for sure.
because we're at scale now.
And that was our focus to begin with. I feel like that is one of the biggest regrets from me is I started to lose that touch of what I got into this for. I just said that I loved the human aspect of that we are helping provide these experiences for people, and then we got caught up in the next property, more money, that we didn't have that well thought out plan like we just explained, And now looking back, I'm like, I wish our properties would probably be performing better if we kept that,
Yeah. It's
Wait, off camera, Tim told us about a bread story. So this is something that you do at your property from a local baker.
Oh, yeah.
So can you tell us what you do there?
We actually, when we were getting ready to go live with the one in West Virginia, we were interviewing housekeepers. And the one girl that we interviewed, she also runs a bakery. And we didn't go with her for housekeeping, for the cleaning, but we liked her. And we're like, hey, look, can we keep you in our portfolio in case we decide to do some baked goods, for our guests? She's like, yeah. So now every guest we get, she has a code for the door.
Right.
And she goes over and brings fresh baked bread, like a pumpkin bread. The other day she made a French toast crumble.
Wow.
bread.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, she sent me a picture. I was like, "Oh, can you put an extra one?" Yeah, but and so she delivers bread, fresh baked bread, to all of our guests. We just had a guest that was over Thanksgiving, and we got a hold of her and we're like, "Look, this is Thanksgiving. Like these people, I'm so honored. Really, I'm just like, wow, you want to come and spend your Thanksgiving?
Right.
You could do that anywhere, but you want to come and spend with your family in my place?
Right.
Wow." So we actually had a fresh baked pumpkin roll delivered instead.
Oh, that's so cool.
And she puts a cute little card with it. We
And
have
what's the cost on that, Tim? Like, what does she charge you to
deliver a fresh baked bread is $10.
$10?
Wow.
It's West Virginia.
Wow.
It's a
Think
li-
about
different
the
market.
impact
Yes.
Right.
it's
Yeah.
leaving on your guests when they walk
Yes.
into a freshly baked,
Yeah.
treat
Yeah.
like that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Worth the
Even-
$10.
You know,
right?
on a property your size, you're probably maybe 8 to 12 bookings a month. So we're talking 80 to $100 that you're spending on bread, maybe.
Our bookings are usually a 4-day booking.
Okay, so you're a little bit longer.
A little
so
bit longer,
even less,
little
right?
le-
Yeah.
right.
So even less.
Right, it's even less.
So
right.
nominal spend
Right.
to
And
really
it's-
create this.
It's $10. Who
Yeah.
cares? Like,
Wow.
the good Lord is blessing us pretty daggone well. So I can figure
I think the lesson here for a lot of our, and I'm so glad we're getting into this, because I didn't realize you're doing all that for your guests. But I think the lesson here for everyone that's watching is look for those opportunities to separate yourself as an Airbnb host, not just on price, not just on design, not just on amenities, but on the experience you give your guest and that kind of wow factor when they walk in. So Tim talked about a s'mores bar. Tim talked about the goodies getting delivered, right? The pizza oven and the directions on how to make it special. Like those are all little things that go above and beyond you just having a hot tub. And I think that's what we want to focus on. So
Like, it makes me want to stay at your place, Tim. These are all fun little, yeah.
going down.
So Tim, from like a numbers perspective, ballpark, do you know how much have you guys done revenue wise? Like where's your approximate profit on that first deal?
The profit that we've turned so far, because there's so much repairs and things that we put into it the first year.
Not including the capital expenses.
Not the capital expenses. We bought it, went live July 1st. I think we're at about, by the end of November, I think we're at about a 12,000 profit.
Okay, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah,
we're talking
between
about
10 and 12,000.
Yeah, so we're talking a $40,000 investment, and granted, there were some additional capital expenses to kind of get it up and running, but to be a few months in, not even a year, where we're talking 5 months,
Yeah.
12,000, 10,000 in profit. That's pretty darn good, right? Do that over a year, that's 20 grand, give or take. We're looking at that's a pretty darn good cash on cash return.
Yeah, we're
given where
enjoying
we're
it.
at right now.
The fun thing is we using Price Labs to kind of figure out our pricing and things, which I highly recommend to anyone if you're getting into this game. Using some kind of tool, Price Labs, AirDNA, we use Price Labs. But when you pull up a 4-bedroom in that market with our amenities, I think said per year we should be pulling in, I think it was 46,000 a year, average, gross income. We're already at 47, and including what we have booked for December. So for 6 months, we've already done 47.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay,
We're doing pretty good.
we're doing all right. I'm pretty happy with where we're at. So I mean, our first booking though was a 27-day, $13,000.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was insane. But
So Tim, what's your advice to folks that are looking to get started today? Because there's a lot of hesitation, there's a lot of fear. I think there's a lot of misinformation. What's your advice to folks that are looking to get started today?
You can get a lot of advice from a lot of people. That's the technicals. First of all, I'd say, what are you waiting on? Stop waiting. Don't live in fear. Fear is just going to suck the life out of you. Be smart. Learn what you can, but don't live in that paralysis. Sorry. Getting into it, then once you make that jump, I think it would be. It's different than what most people say is. Know your vision, know what you want out of this, and make it bigger than money. Money will come.
Yep.
Money will always come. That's the one thing in life you can always make more of. Money is easy to make. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree on that right now with wherever they're at in life. But if you know your why and you want to serve other people, and really put it out there to make other people's lives better with what you do, the money will always come. And you'll have a lot of joy, not just happiness, but complete joy doing what you do.
Love that. Dude, so good, Tim. Where can people learn more about you, man?
We actually are in the middle of getting up our own direct booking site.
Okay.
It'll be Visita.net.
Visita.
Visita. It's
Okay. What does Visita mean?
well, we took
Casita.
Casita
Yeah.
On vacation?
and vacation and mashed them together.
Visita.
Genius.
That's pretty
Casita.
cool.
Instagram. On Instagram, we're at Visita. I think that's what we have. It is. I think that's what it is. Facebook, Visita as well. And then me personally on Facebook, Tim Reed. And then the real Tim Reed on Instagram. So
Appreciate that, Tim. So last thing. So Tim, we met at one of the Bigger Pockets events. And then Tim, you've been to all three summits.
I've been to all three.
You've been to all three
summits.
summits.
Yep.
So we have our next summit coming up here June 23rd through the 25th at the Gaylord Rockies Resort and Convention Center in Denver, Colorado.
Beautiful.
We're super excited. This is going to be our biggest summit yet because we've taken, it'll be a year off.
Yeah, sorry guys, I wasn't feeling very up for it with being even more pregnant and with the baby, but
Yeah. So it'll be our biggest summit that we've had so far. So Tim, just if you can give us what has your experience been going to the summits? How is it compared to some of the other events you've been to?
That's kind of funny because I've messaged
Yeah.
some to you guys and things. I've gone to a number of different other summits that have been put on by some big names.
Yeah.
And great people, great information, the energy, the networking, the information is across the board is pretty high class, especially with one of the recent ones that I've gone to. It's probably on the same level, but it's a good summit. But yours by far, the STR summit by far, you will walk away with a whole different vibe. The energy is amazing. The networking and the friends that I've made all across the country. I mean, heck, I hopped on a plane this morning. I'm from Pennsylvania.
Now we're here in California.
And I jumped on a plane this morning to come to California just to hang out with you and some other folks that I met from the summit.
That's so cool.
It's amazing.
And, when you guys are asking me, like, well, why are you coming out? I'm like, I was thinking about,
got
like,
the
some
fun.
Mexican and maybe, like, a cold one or something.
I love that.
Just because the friendships that we've made, and just, people are hitting me up with questions and I hit them up with questions, and just that support has been, it's amazing. Yeah. But I would say what sets you guys apart is the energy and the love. Like it really, you can definitely feel the love in that room where everybody wants to have everyone else succeed, and it's genuine. It's really cool.
Dude, get me
That
choked
makes
up,
me
man.
emotional too, yeah.
It's just been so cool because we've been able to build an amazing community of people. And like Tim, you're one of the early parts of Alpha Host, right? Because you joined in September, or did you join in Orlando?
I joined in Orlando in January.
So like we're like 4 months into it at that point,
Yeah.
And just like the impact that you've had on other students, like you're always sharing wisdom. And guys, like, this is what it's all about is surrounding yourself with people who are going on the same journey as you. Yeah. Most new investors, they're on this island by themselves. Like
1,000%.
They don't have anyone in their close personal circle that's also investing in Airbnbs.
Yeah.
And if all you hear is the naysayers and the people who are saying, don't buy real estate, like, wait for the crash, don't do it right now, like, you're giving yourself the wrong information. You're feeding yourself the wrong information. So that's why the community is so important to us. So Tim, super excited, man, and grateful that you felt that coming into it.
Well, and with that, it's cool because, I'm 52. Dude, when I come to the summit, I'm the old guy in the room, I'm the old head. But it's so cool that I can be in a room and I'm learning from a 25-year-old. And they've got such value to give. And yet they're looking at me and going, well, what do you bring, and the experience and the maturity or whatever that I'm bringing? And no one cares who you are, what age you are, what economic status you are, whatever. And it's just everybody's just pouring into everybody else. And it's really cool. And, you guys keep me young, so it's kind of cool.
Well, Tim, appreciate those kind of words, man. Any
Absolutely.
parting words from you, babe, before we...
No, I'm a big fan of you, Tim Reed, since the day I met you. Yeah.
Oh my God, made me cry.
No, seriously, it's all about community and connections for me personally. Like I said, from whether the hosting perspective or the community with Alpha Hosts and why we host events. So I just really appreciate our friendship and the connection we formed together. So
Oh, it means a lot to me too.
yeah.
So.
We love you, Tim.
Thanks. We love you guys.
That's it for today, guys. I'm Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Tim.
And we are
the Real Estate Robinsons.